Hey everyone, welcome back. Today we're diving into something pretty cool. It's everywhere you look these days, right? I mean, everyone seems to be completely obsessed with indoor plants.
They really do.
So we wanted to take a deep dive into this whole indoor jungle thing and figure out, what's the deal with all the greenery?
Yeah, it's not just a fad, right?
Yeah.
Like, we've always had houseplants, but something's definitely shifted in the past, I don't know, maybe since around 2016, 2017. If you look at the data, like the search data alone for indoor plants, like, boom, just this massive spike, especially when you get to like spring, early summer. Everyone's like,
it's like a jungle out there. But seriously, why now? What is it about this moment that's got everyone turning their living rooms into greenhouses? Is it, I don't know, is it more than just a fad?
I think so, yeah. I mean, part of it is definitely visual, right? Plants just make a space look good, very in right now.
Okay. So the aesthetic is huge.
Right.
My Instagram feed is basically just succulents and fiddle leaf figs at this point. But I keep hearing about these health benefits too, Improved air quality, mood boosting, all that. Is there any truth to that, or is that just clever marketing?
Oh, no, there's definitely some real science behind it.
Yeah.
Like, they've done studies linking indoor plants to better air quality, which is huge when you think about how many toxins are just like floating around in our homes. And then there's all the mental stuff too. Lower stress, better mood. Even some studies are saying they can help you focus, be more productive. It's like having a little piece of, I don't know, like the rainforest right there on your desk.
Sign me up. But then, February rolls around and my inner plant killer seems to reappear.
What's with that seasonal spike we see in the data? Does everyone just like magically get a green thumb when the weather warms up? Well, part of it's pretty straightforward. Longer days, more sunlight. Plants are naturally going to be soaking it all up. But there's a psychological component too, I think. Like spring cleaning, that whole fresh start vibe, people want to refresh their spaces, and plants are a pretty perfect way to do that, right?
And the plant industry knows this, I bet. There's no way they haven't noticed this pattern.
Let's just say they're very aware of those seasonal trends.
Okay, so there's more to this whole indoor plant thing than meets the eye. I'm actually kind of hooked now. Let's dig into some of those seasonal shifts. How do we actually make this whole indoor jungle thing work year-round? What do we need to know?
All right, so buckle up, because we're about to get into the nitty-gritty of light, water, humidity, you name it. Because trust me, those plants, they've got needs.
Light, water, humidity. Sounds like we're about to get a crash course in Plant Parenthood 101. Let's start with light, because full disclosure, I've definitely killed my fair share of plants by sticking them in a dark corner and just hoping for the best.
Oh, yeah, we've all been there. But here's the thing, right? Not all light is created equal. I mean, it seems obvious when you say it like that, but when it comes to plants, understanding those nuances can really make or break your indoor jungle dreams.
Okay, so light matters. Makes sense. But inside, we're kind of stuck with whatever sunlight our windows decide to give us, right? How do we even start to figure out how to, replicate those natural environments that our plants are used to?
That is the million-dollar question. And honestly, it can get a little technical. We're talking foot candles, light meters. It's a whole thing.
Foot candles. You lost me at foot candles.
Okay, don't worry. You don't need to go full-on botanist on me. The main thing is to remember that different plants have different light requirements. Some plants are like, give me all the sun. Your succulents, your cacti, those guys are built for it. Then you've got your shade lovers, ferns, peace lilies. They're cool with a little less drama in the lighting department.
Okay, that makes sense. But how do I know which plants need what? Is there, a cheat sheet somewhere I can reference?
There are tons of resources online, but honestly, just being observant can go a long way. Pay attention to how the light changes in your space throughout the day. A south-facing window, that's prime real estate for your sun worshipers. East-facing, you'll get some nice morning light, but it's going to be a bit more mellow.
Okay, so pay attention to the light. Got it. What about those of us who, live in a cave? Are we just doomed to a plant-free existence?
Absolutely not. Remember, we've got technology on our side. Grow lights are a game changer, especially during the winter when those days are shorter and, the sun's basically playing hide and seek.
Grow lights, so it's not cheating to give my plants a little extra boost.
Not at all. Think of it as giving them a little extra TLC during those darker months.
I like the way you think. All right, so we've got our light situation sorted. What's next on the plant parent to-do list?
Let's talk about water. Or, more importantly, how to not drown our leafy friends. Because let me tell you, overwatering is a real thing, and it's a very easy trap to fall into.
Oh yeah, tell me about it. I've definitely lost a few good plants to that particular rookie mistake. Is there, like, a secret trick to knowing exactly when your plants are thirsty?
If only they could just, hold up a little sign, right? Water me. Unfortunately, a little more subtle than that. But there are definitely some things you can look out for. First and foremost, ditch the schedule.
Wait, what? You're telling me Watering Wednesday is a myth?
It's a recipe for disaster, my friend. You can't just assume every plant needs the same amount of water on the same day. It doesn't work like that. You got to feel the soil.
Okay, so ditch the schedule. Got it. But how do I actually know when it's time to water? My plants don't exactly come with a user manual.
Right. They can make it a little easier on us. But you got to learn to read the signs. Feeling the soil, that's key. Stick your finger in there like an inch or two deep. If it's dry, give it a good soak. If it still feels damp, hold back, No need to drown them with affection.
So it's all about observation, tuning into what your plants actually need instead of just, I don't know, guessing.
Yeah. Exactly. And changes throughout the year too. Like in the winter, plants, a lot of them kind of slow down, go a little dormant.
Oh, right. Like us with our winter hibernation, except instead of cookies, they want less water. Makes sense.
Yeah. They're not growing as much, so they just don't need as much H2O. What might have been a weekly watering in the summer could easily become every other week, maybe even less, once winter hits.
So many things to keep in mind. I'm starting to feel like a plant detective over here. Speaking of seasonal changes, what about humidity? Like, my apartment gets so dry in the winter. Is that a plant killer too?
It definitely can be, especially for those tropical plants,
Yeah.
They're used to a certain level of moisture in the air. Calatheas, ferns, those guys. Dry air is not their friend.
Okay, so what's the solution? Am I going to have to turn my living room into a sauna?
Nah, it doesn't have to be that extreme. A humidifier can work wonders. Or, if you're feeling crafty, a humidity tray is super easy to make. Just put your plants on a tray with some pebbles and water. As the water evaporates, it'll create this nice little microclimate of humidity.
Oh, I love those, low effort, high impact solutions. Maybe there's hope for me as a plant parent after all. But I do have to ask, are there any truly beginner proof plants out there? Asking for a friend who may or may not have accidentally killed a cactus.
Oh, absolutely. Some plants are basically superheroes when it comes to hardiness. The snake plant is a classic for a reason. Low light, infrequent watering, and they still look super chic. ZZ plants are another great one, almost impossible to kill, seriously.
Yeah.
And then there's the ever-popular pothos. Super easy to care for, they can tolerate all sorts of conditions, and they're just really pretty to look at, It's like the gateway plant.
Okay, those are all going on my list. So we've covered a lot of ground here, and it's got me thinking. This whole indoor plant thing, it's not just about keeping a few plants alive on a windowsill, is it? It's like there's a whole movement here.
I think you're right. It's about our connection to nature, bringing those good vibes inside. It's good for our mental health, our physical health, and honestly, it can even be good for business.
Totally. We see plant shops popping up everywhere, plant fluencers on Instagram. It's like a whole new world. So for our listeners who are totally inspired right now, what would you say is the biggest takeaway?
Pay attention to the details. Light, water, humidity, all that stuff matters. But more importantly, just have fun with it. Don't be afraid to experiment. See what works for you and your space. It's all about finding that balance,
Finding your green thumb. Well said. And on that note, we're going to have to wrap things up. But hey, maybe this is just the beginning of our deep dive into the world of indoor plants. Who knows what other leafy secrets are out there waiting to be discovered. Thanks for joining